decide what to do, but are we going to do something that will have them safely housed as opposed to just shoved out of the way so people don't see them?
Well, I'm going to ask the mayor to join, but I'll also say we have a Home Illinois program that's in our current proposed budget. We're hoping to pass in May that'll help us provide not just temporary but permanent homes for people.
And this is not going to be what, frankly, you've seen in other places around the world, where suddenly the homeless people are swept off the street as the world turns its eyes to Chicago. We have a challenge with homelessness, no question. Not the same as cities across the country, but we work hard every single day. And as you know, there's a number of reasons why.
We're, a very healthy, strong, vibrant, city. But as you all know, as the governor has already expressed, and what Mayor Lightfoot has articulated, safe cities are safe when we have investments. So the Democratic National Convention coming to the city of Chicago is one of the embodiments of one of the best investments you can make. And that's why this is not just about, certain neighborhoods benefiting from this convention. And I'm just very proud to announce, though, too, in case you all missed it, the United Center is on the west side of Chicago by all means. A lot of good things coming out of the west side. And so that type of apparatus is going to continue as Mayor Lightfoot and I work together during this transition.
Hi, Greg Bluestein for the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. My question is for the chairman and the governor. What do you think the biggest difference maker between Chicago's bid and Atlanta's bid? What put Chicago over the top?
Well, listen, I'm not going to pit. We've gone through the process of looking at the pros and cons of every city, and all three cities are fantastic. When you look at the history, all three cities, the three that were finalists, all held a convention. It was 88 in Atlanta, it was 92 in New York, and it was 96 in Chicago. If I could have given out 3 bids for the 24, the 28, and the 32, I would have, because each one of those cities was very unique. They had their own stories that they could tell, and it was a very, very, very hard choice. But in the end, we chose Chicago, and I think Chicago is going to be a fantastic host for the city. But listen, personally in Atlanta, my mama lives in Atlanta. She wanted the grandkids for a whole week. That's what she didn't want to attend any of the events. She just wanted the grandbabies at her house for a whole week. So I told the governor I got to make it up to my mama. But listen, in the end of the day, Atlanta's a great place. The DNC, Greg, I know you write for Atlanta. The DNC has already helped Atlanta and Georgia because it is now in the early state window, which is going to be a huge economic boon for the state of Georgia for generations to come. And so we are invested in New York, we're invested in Georgia, we're invested in Texas, and of course, having the convention here shows that we are investing in Illinois as well.
I'll just say that I'm cordially inviting your mother to be my guest, my special guest, here in Chicago. I'll help take care of the grandkids with her.
I'll help pay for that,
Governor. Craig Dellamore from WBBM News Radio. I know the intention is there, but what kinds of things can be done to make sure that the benefits of this convention reach beyond downtown and make it out into the neighborhoods?
Well, anybody who knows me knows that one of the things that we were very focused on is making sure that we made equity and inclusion real and manifest in concrete, tangible ways. So the commitment that we made to the DNC is that minority and women-owned businesses were going to be prominently featured, that our workers from Chicago were going to benefit, and we expect that promise to be made manifest. This isn't going to be a convention where the people who profit don't live in Illinois, don't live in Chicago. This is going to be a Chicago featured event, and our small businesses, our workers are absolutely going to be benefiting front and center.
Thanks. That's all we have time for.
I want to add something quick on that as well. One of the things that is really, really important is a former 9th grade social studies teacher, and I know the mayor-elect has spent some time in the classroom. I remember I went back to my high school to teach, which was in my hometown. And one of my students, I taught world geography, but one of my students couldn't find South Carolina on the map and didn't know where Orangeburg was in the South Carolina map. There are kids that I'm sure even here in Chicago, because there are kids in South Carolina and kids all across this country who have never left their neighborhood, who've never been exposed to all of the benefits that the world can provide, that this country can provide. One of the things that is going to be a driving force for us at this convention, the convention that I chair, the convention that's going to be in the state of Illinois, the convention that's going to be here in the city of Chicago, is to make sure that we are reaching out to those kids so that they get an opportunity to be exposed like I was when just watching it on television, and it changed the course of my life. We want to make sure that the benefits of this convention also can reach out to these kids and help to change and form the course of their lives as well. So we will be looking at creative ways. We're going to be talking to community organizations. We'll be working with the leadership, not only the elected, but the community leadership, to find ways that this is a convention not just in the United Center, but it's a convention that is all over the city of Chicago, but the state of Illinois and the Midwest as well. So I'm looking forward to that challenge, but I'm looking forward to the opportunities that I think is going to present to the next generation of leaders in this country.
We're going to push back, guys. So we're going to cover this counter. Let's do it quickly.
We're watching you. Yeah.
Kevin, sir, you ready to scoot over one more spot right here? Cheer it up.
Yes.
T-shirts. How are you? God love you. I just got about 10 pounds of pastry up there. Quite all. Or you can make some good food. Hey guys. Nice to meet you. Good to see you. Hey, how are you, man?
Joe, this is Connor.
Connor, how are you? Good to see you.
Connor works here a couple mornings a week, Joe. Yeah.
Good.
There's more talking than working.
Joe, I don't know, Connor. You sound like me. Sound like me. Great to see you guys. Good to see you. Do I know Jody? Are you kidding me? Hey, I'm just coming on looking. I guess I'll take you. I may want to order something. Well, you order, whatever you order, I got loaded.
Joe, this is Siobhan.
Siobhan, how are you? Good to see you.
Lorraine.
Lorraine.
Grania.
Grania,
Who
how
also
are you?
lived in New York for a long time.
Sounds like New York moved here.
Yeah.
I don't know why the hell my ancestors left here.
Well, thank God we wouldn't have you in my way.
Yeah.
Great story.
Thank you, Miho.
Fantastic story.
Nice to look up the local.
Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Oh, he's going that way.
Follow them, guys. Keep going, keep going.
Stay there, Visor. No.
You guys submit it to the mark over. Hold out there.
Frank, you good? Yeah, I'll just stay quiet. Hey, Jason, we're going to try to drop the card. That's fine, dude. You want to swap cards? We'll do it at the end.
That's what I heard. So what definitely comes out?
Yes.
Do you think just having yourself? Yeah. So are you going to drop the other cards? For a review? Or just, no, we dropped these first already. Oh, yeah. I mean, we were looking into capital, fire most of it. But we can't, I mean, I love
Mr. President, honoured guests, it's a particular pleasure and indeed honour for me to welcome you home to County Louth, President Biden. We call it the wee county, County Louth, but coming from Cork, I have to say, President, that the wee county packs a punch, as we found out recently in a recent sporting fixture. But it is a county that's rich in tradition, history, a county of legends, and a county, of course, of your forefathers. I know that you have visited here before, but today we are honoured to welcome you as President of the United States of America. And we thank you, President, for your ongoing support of Ireland, and particularly for your profiling of our country at every international forum that you attend. And I know this personally in terms of how you've introduced many an international meeting with a quote from Irish poets, and we appreciate that. Your home county, like other border counties, has in part been shaped by the weave of people's lives. Few would have thought this possible 25 years ago. The Good Friday Agreement enables us to make the most of people-to-people connections across this island, as well as between Ireland and the United Kingdom. Its three strands of relationships reflect the depth and interwoven nature of these engagements. And together, we all have so much potential. And we want to explore that all-island potential to its fullest. And that is why my government launched the Shared Island Initiative, so that we can make the most of these opportunities to cooperate to our collective benefit. Much has been achieved since 1998, but there remains a farther shore to reach. We must ensure that all communities and all traditions fully enjoy the benefits of peace and have the opportunity to live on a truly reconciled island. And as we take forward that work, Mr. President, we know that we do so with the full support of the United States. The engagement of the United States in the peace process gave us the Good Friday Agreement, an unwavering bipartisan commitment, a bipartisan commitment that you, above all, personified over the last 25 years, President, including through the creation and sustainability of the International Fund for Ireland. That dynamic and prosperous peace, the United States will remain a central and fundamental partner. It is a privilege to welcome you here, Mr. President, to celebrate all that has been achieved and to look forward together to the shining possibilities of our future. Welcome home, Mr. President.
Well, it feels like home. I said last time I was here, in a sense, I know why my ancestors and many of your relatives left during the famine. And but you know, when you're here, you wonder why anyone would ever want to leave. I mean it. So it's good to be back. I want to thank another proud son of Louth, Prime Minister Martin, the guy behind me here. Now, I met him when he was the Taoiseach. And the bad news was we put him up in lovely quarters across from the White House, and he had COVID. So, in fact, I'm here with my sister Valerie and my younger son Hunter Biden. Stand up, guys. I'm proud of you. And I wish our mom, Catherine Eugenia Finnegan Biden, were here today. She'd be so damn proud, you know. And she, Louth held such a special place in her heart, and it really did. And today we carry her home in our heart, for real. We think about her all the time. And coming here feels like coming home, and it really does. The way, every time I've come, the welcome, the people on the streets, they're just so gracious to us. And earlier today, I had a chance to visit another special place, Carlingford Castle. High in the hill, the castle that was likely one of the last glimpses that the Finnegan family saw when they set sail for America. And they set sail with courage and hope, and they crossed the sea. And through generations, the Finnegans brought this island home from Ireland to Scranton, Pennsylvania, where we were raised, where I was raised, I should say, and my mother lived. And matter of fact, I'm going to be heading to the other end side of the island, to Mayo, because my grandmother's maiden name was Blewett, and the Blewetts are from Mayo. And we brought over the mayor of Scranton because it's a sister city to Mayo. And but my grandpa Finnegan would also say, every time we walked, we talk about background and heritage, he'd go, "Remember, Joey, the best drop of blood in you is Irish." Well, y'all think I'm kidding. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. And he'd never been to Ireland, but he raised his family with the fierce pride in our Irish ancestry. A pride that spoke to the history that binds us and the values that unite us. And it's important to remember there's the values that unite us. You know, the values I heard from my mother, she used to say, "Joey, remember, you're defined by your courage. You're defined by your courage, and you're redeemed by your loyalty." That was her code. You're defined by your courage. She's, without courage, you could never take a chance on just about anything. And so, you know, the values of my father, whose saving grace was a quarter of his family was Hanafis from Galway. That helped. You know, Biden's English. I hate to tell you that. I don't hate it. I'm joking, but it's true. And as a matter of fact, I have a call into the former ambassador from Great Britain to the United States, who became a friend because the British embassy is alongside the fence that separates the vice president's residence from the British embassy. We became friends. We used to always kid him and talk about how, you know, lay off the Irish, man, you know, joking with him. And one day he said, "Biden's English." I said, "No, it's Dutch." I was joking with him. And to make a long story short, his last tour, he came home to England, and I later learned went to the Admiralty to determine, because he knew the name Biden was English, and he found that my great-great-great-grandfather, I think, was a captain in the East Indian Tea Company, and he got them to reprint a book, the Admiral to reprint a book. He wrote the rules of mutiny, seriously, for the British Navy. And there's a picture of him sitting in his cabin, looking very captainish, with a big British bulldog next to him. And he gave me the book. He said, "I don't want to hear any more from you." But all kidding aside, you know, the fact is that, you know, my dad taught us a lot. And he used to, our dinner table was a place where you accidentally sat down to eat, but it was a place where we had discussions. And our dad worked like hell. And he'd come home from work and then go back. We'd have dinner at 6 o'clock. And it was a place, as I said, we had conversation and incidentally ate. And then he'd go back to work until 9 o'clock. And, but my dad had this he was really a fine man. And he talked about, his favorite word was that dignity. He said, everyone's entitled to be treated with dignity, Joey, and respect, no matter what. My father would no more walk by the shoe shine guy in the Hotel DuPont than he would walk by the chairman of the board who walked by it. That was our dad, and he meant it, everyone. These are the same values I've tried to pass down to my children, my son Hunter, my deceased son Bo, my daughter Ashley, that everyone is entitled to be treated with dignity, everybody. And they're the same values including my granddaughters. I have, the great thing about granddaughters is they're crazy about their grandfather. I've worked on it from the very, you think I'm joking, I worked on it from the very beginning. And my number 2 granddaughter, and when I walked in, she was being born and Hunt was there, and I had just been born. We walked into the recovery room, and I said, "What are we going to name her?" And he said, "Finnegan." And I said, "No, what are we going to name her?" And because I thought Catherine Eugenia Finnegan Biden, they're going to name her. He said, "No, Finnegan." We're nostalgic about the future. I think we all are, no matter where we live, if we have Irish blood in us. And it's because more than anything in my experience, hope is what beats in the heart of all people, and particularly in the heart of the Irish. Hope. Every action is about hope. we can make things better. And hope that built both our nations has been passed down generation to generation by our families. And it's hope that continues this day. Nearly 45 years ago, as some of you may remember, none of you women are old enough to know, but some of you men maybe. 45 years ago, Pope John Paul spoke down the road, quoting St. Patrick. And the Pope said, and I quote, "I have kept the faith, and it's been the ambition of the Irish down through the centuries to have kept the faith." I think that's what we are. We keep the faith. I'm not talking about religion per se. I'm talking about keeping the faith in who we are, what we believe, what our values are. And so my message to you today is quite simple. We have to continue to keep the faith. Every time I walk out, this is not a joke, walk out of my Grandpa Finnegan's house up in Scranton, Pennsylvania, he'd yell, "Joey, keep the faith." And then either my uncle or my grandmother would yell, "No, Joey, spread it, spread it." But all together, we have to keep working toward a future that's of greater dignity. And as Joseph Kearney from Moneygall was leaving, because my great-great-grandfather was a shoemaker, Owen. And he sailed on the Carolyn Reed and arriving in America just 5 weeks before my great-great-grandfather. And they were both shoemakers. And it's doubtful they knew each other, and they came out of the same port. And but one thing we do know, they left everything behind, but they had faith. They had faith in an uncertain son to be president of the United States of America, Barack Obama and Joe Biden. But that's what you breed here, just faith in the possibilities that are out there. You know, we come from, Valerie and I come from not poor means, but modest means. We lived in a split-level home and the development of similar homes, of 75 homes. It was a nice neighborhood. And we had 3 bedrooms, 4 kids, and a grandpa living with us. And but it was home. I now look back and wonder how Mom and Dad did that. But the point is that, you know, we were taught anything's possible.